Really nice. It's just such a lovely little Christmassy message, isn't it, for the kiddies this time of year? And it makes me wonder, in all seriousness, does Francis ever think about the children? I'm talking just regular children, millions and millions of kids that are watching what's happening in the world. I mean, he says he does, and he kisses up to this woke gay group or that woke transsexual group or whatever. He says he cares about kids if they're in Ukraine because he's going after the Russian protection of its borders. But as you think about the kids in their broken homes all over the world, their shattered churches, drug-infested cities, he's the Pope. Is he thinking about them, what they're going through? Again, he'll mention children now and then, Ukrainian kids, for example, when he's going after the Russian deal. Oh, he really, really cares about the adopted children of gay couples, of course. We talked about that last time.
In this letter, I was telling that we were a same-sex couple with 3 kids, and that we were on the point of introducing our kids to the parish. And then 3 days after, I got a phone call from an anonymous number. Someone saying, Mr. Rubera, yes, it's me. This is Pope Francis. I called you twice, but you were not answering. I read your letter. It's a beautiful letter. I got your point. And he told me, please, bring your children to the parish.
Oh, isn't that sweet? But what about the kids from just normal Catholic homes all over anywhere USA, Main Street USA? Because most of those kids now, they're going to leave the Catholic Church by the time they're 16, 17 years old, right? That's what the statistics show. Does he care at all? Does Francis the Merciful care about them as much as, say, he cares about the adopted kids of his LGBTQRSTUVWXYZ friends? Does he care about them as much? Tell me, Francis, now that you've called for the blessings of those living in gay unions, just answer me one question as a father of 7 children who has to homeschool his kids, by the way, because the Catholic schools are ridiculous. Answer one question for me. What are our kids supposed to do with this? The ink on Fiducia Supplicans wasn't even dry when this Catholic priest was posing for pictures. Now, posing for pictures of himself blessing a pair of hand-holding guys in an obvious gay union. Holiness. And if that wasn't enough, your guy, Father Jimmy Martin, goes on TV and confirms what this is all about.
It is a dramatic shift. It's the first time that priests have been able to bless same-sex couples. But I think the idea on the preconditions is that we don't want to confuse it with sacramental marriage, which is still reserved for a man and a woman.
Now, did you catch that? You Pope-splainers out there, you guys? Did you get that? Jimmy's telling the truth. You can always count on Jimmy to come out and get so excited that he gives it all away. Now, he said blessing same-sex couples, didn't he?
It's the first time that priests have been able to bless same-sex couples.
So now that's a Jesuit. That's a guy that was personally appointed by Francis to a position in the Vatican. That was a mover and shaker at the Synod on Synodality, Father Martin. So this is kind of confusing, right? I mean, everybody would admit this is kind of confusing to have a priest on TV talking like this, especially for the kids, right? With people engaging in what the whole world considered mortally sinful behavior just a few years ago. So is Francis worried about how they're absorbing all this, how kids are dealing with this, the psychological impact of this change? Is he worried about that at all? I don't believe he is, because for him to worry about the children and how they're being impacted by it, this would be motivated by genuine pastoral concern. And Francis is no pastor. We all know that, right? We can admit that now? He's at war with everybody who's faithful. He's at war with the rigid. He's at war with everybody that disagrees with him. He's an angry old man, right? And this has nothing to do with pastoral sensitivity, this blessing of you know that, right? It has absolutely nothing to do with pastoral. It has nothing to do with mercy. When Francis says mercy wagon, it has nothing to do with the God of surprises. Friends, this blessing, same-sex union, couples, whatever you want to call it, this is 100% political, okay? 100%. I'm going to prove that tonight. This is the Great Reset. This is diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is Agenda 2030. This is the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. And you know what? Fiducia supplicans, you know what it's doing right now? You're not going to hear about this because there's a media blackout on this. What it's doing is the Vatican is not so subtly helping to eliminate Christian opposition to the UN-backed EU ACP treaty. Have you heard of it? I didn't think so, because they're ramrodding this thing in while you're looking over at Israel and worried about October 7th. So listen up, because this is what really is going on here. This is what this is all about. Again, it's called the EU ACP treaty, and if it passes in the next few weeks, it will force 79 developing countries to adopt universal reproductive rights, abortion on demand, mandatory LGBT rights and sex ed for kids across the board throughout 79 countries. And for the moment, the only thing standing in the way of this passing, this treaty passing or being signed in, is the opposition coming from Catholic bishops in Catholic countries, in those 79 countries. So, you want to know why the African Catholic Bishops' Conferences now are standing up en masse? Why they're the first to stand against fiducia supplicans? It's because Africa, friends, as you know, Africa has been at war with the globalists over this particular issue for a long time, for years, for decades, you know? And this new Vatican declaration will go a long, long way in helping the global elites browbeat Africa into abandoning Christian moral teachings on what? On family, life, and human sexuality. That's what's really going on here.